Jesters, welcome to Certified Jesters, the original truth tellers, back with another installment for you boys. It's your boy King Bash, aka not King Bash. Come on, man. Come on, man. I had to see if you were slipping or not. It's your boy Bash, aka King Battle, here with the GOAT.
The GOAT.
Co-host.
Maybe in another life.
A star boy.
Wannabe. Allegedly.
I don't know. Twisted Key. Here in the flesh.
That I am.
And let's just run it down and recap what happened. So UFC 272.
272. We got our numbers right.
We got
our numbers right. We're coming correct.
Yeah, come on now.
Yeah.
272. Let's just really recap kind of the whole event, at least from our vantage points.
Right.
What did you see? How are you feeling? What did you think about the event? I guess a little bit of backstory before we even recap the whole thing is Key had to pull the heroics. So where we was at.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. No. I gotta give you your flowers. Gotta give you your flowers while you're here.
What a guy.
While we were at the event, somebody was airplaying off their phone. He got the pay-per-view and everything, but he was airplaying off the phone. The phone kept pausing. It just really wasn't a good look for the big event. So this guy took it upon himself to leave the function, grab his Xbox, bring the Xbox, hook it up, get everything on the straight and narrow, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and the event went smoothly after that.
So everybody needs them a key.
Wow.
That's the moral of the story.
You know, not all heroes wear capes, and then, you know...
But you were caping for Joe Rogan.
I was caping, but I didn't have my cape on. Okay. I wasn't in uniform that time, so
got you.
So
yeah, he was more Clark Kent that day.
You know, I didn't feel like I did anything special. I just did what had to be done,
right?
You know, to make the night go smooth.
Without hesitation, though.
You know,
without hesitation. Walked straight up out of there and went and got it. So
I got this, bro.
Big congratulations. He's really a jester of the week, if you will. But yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yes.
But 272. What'd you think?
It was a good card. It would have been better had Rafael Fiziev didn't get COVID. That would have made that co-main event a little bit better. But overall, it was good. We got to see. One, we got to see Greg Carter get slept again. Two, we got to see Kevin Holland at welterweight. That was nice. Bryce Mitchell, interesting character. We got to see him in action. He didn't pull off another twister, but you know, it's whatever. RDA, he basically did what he had to do. Completely battered that man. Yeah, it's nothing more to say about that. Bludgeoned him, exactly.
Bludgeoned him, really.
And then the main event, it's kind of how I pictured it going if Colby was gonna win.
Okay.
It was
tactical. He got into the wrestling. Wrestling was a majority of how he was really getting it done.
Drag him down, beat him up, send him out.
I felt like. I had said this. I felt like Masvidal had to win in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
If he was going to win, it had to be in the first 2 rounds. Honestly, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of like, as I'm sure everybody was, a little more hand-to-hand combat. We're just going to strike this out. And actually, he won it pretty decidingly. Obviously, it was a unanimous decision. But when they did get one of those rare moments to go hand-to-hand, Masvidal dropped him.
Yeah.
He buckled him for sure.
And he dropped him twice in the fight, and it brings you back to Colby wanted to win this fight. He wasn't trying to swing and bang.
Right.
So he went out there, did what he had to do. He won a lot of exchanges, like, don't get me wrong, but the highlights of the stand-up were won by Masvidal. And it was one of those things where Colby, he knows what he's doing. He's the #1 ranked contender for a reason.
Yeah,
he's good, even with all the antics. So he just really he beat him in this fight, but he did not beat him up. I can't really say that because he did beat him up, but it just wasn't the like.
Well, the feeling I got while watching it was like, obviously this was like a main event. The card was pretty big, and the card really delivered in terms of how the fights went, and kind of like talking points on them. But it felt like two people that are not at the cream of the crop fighting. Like they're kind of more even. I guess. I mean, he had an easy advantage in the wrestling.
Correct.
But it just felt like we're watching two people who don't have all the way polished games. Like, for example, if we were watching somebody at the cream of the crop, right? Masvidal would have just KO'd him right then and there. Like when he dropped him, either of the two times, he would have gone in for the kill, and it didn't look like he did that. On the flip side, when Covington's holding him down, if we're talking about the cream of the crop, like we're talking about like a Islam or a Hamzat, bro, they're taking him to the. He kept trying to submit him, and it wasn't working. Yeah. When we're talking about the cream of the crop, it's gonna work. Right. I'm getting you out of there.
And that's the thing with Colby. Like he's a good fighter. He has a good stand up. He's a good wrestler. Like he does everything good, but he's a wrestler, so he's not really like finishing like that. So and yeah, he had a couple of chances to try to secure like a rear naked choke, but the way he was set up, he was on the side of him, and he was like in between a full mount, a side mount, or taking the back, and you just like it's like pick one and go in for it. But he was in such a like, this is why I say he was trying to win the fight. He was in such a dominant position the whole time that he didn't overextend in any area, because where he was at was going to win the fight. So he didn't take any unnecessary risk. He didn't do anything extra. Anytime the fight looked like it was going to take a turn for Masvidal, he completely nullified that. He survived the initial encounters where that would happen, where he got dropped, and then boom, strike with you for a couple seconds, back to the round. And it was just like that the whole time. And you can just tell, like, there's it kind of, when you look at it, it could go both ways. It could be, okay, when he fought Usman, he's fighting on the feet because he respects Usman's ground game enough not to always go shoot. But when they fought, he didn't even shoot.
All-American wrestler? Usman?
I don't. He might be D2. He might be D2. But yes.
I think somebody else.
Either Colby. One of them is D2, but
I don't even think John Jones was D1 though.
No, he wasn't. But they all so they all have a background in wrestling. Right. So there's enough respect to do that. But Usman kind of was more willing to strike with Masvidal. But I think that leans towards confidence.
Yeah.
Even though
confidence, preparation, and being a champion.
Correct.
There's a clear difference between a #1 contender who obviously can't get over the hump, and a Kamaru Usman who's really here with it, champion, defended the belt multiple times.
And the reason I say that, because Usman already he did say that Masvidal's a little bit harder to take down, but like you can get him there, but it might be hard to keep him there because he wants to bounce right back up and stuff like that. So it may have been harder for him to take him down. But at the end of the day, he wasn't shooting multiple times. He was satisfied with just standing up and striking with the striker and giving us the fight that we wanted to see.
And he proved his point.
And he beat him.
Yep.
But that's why I lean towards confidence. Like he exuded confidence and put him and got him out of there. Stopped him.
Completely.
And it's like, Kobe, you talking all of this stuff, like go out there and whoop his ass, bro. Like if you're gonna take him to the ground, finish the fight.
Yeah. It's also just like, of course, him talking all that stuff, like, you got to keep it with a grain of salt.
Yep.
Selling the fight, whatever. And he has a whole, persona that he's leaned into. But that fight, I mean, it wasn't the way necessarily I feel like most people wanted it to go, but it was still a great fight.
Yeah, it was a good fight. I was happy with the way it went. Going into the fight, you know how it's going to go. It's a lot of these fights turn into chess matches. But, it's funny because both of these guys are like Trump. But when you have that Trump card, you play it. It's like, hey, I'm going to win this fight. And these are bragging rights, bro. Like, okay, we were once boys and all of this stuff. And Covington calling him a journeyman. You can't lose. All right, I'm just going to win this fight. I'm just going to win. However it takes, whatever it takes to win, I'm going to win.
Yep. And he won unanimously.
Dominated him.
And speaking of the whole teammate thing, after the fight, he went straight into it. Didn't even wait for the presser. He went straight into it.
Yeah, Louisiana swamp trash. Come on, bro. If nothing else, he got the nicknames. But yeah, I want to see that fight. But Poirier said he wouldn't do it before he even called him out, though. He said he wouldn't do it. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, what are we gonna do?
Well, again, like he's kind of he would have to run the whole gamut to get back to a title fight. And at that point, you almost, and I'm not saying this from like personal perspective because I wouldn't want this to happen, but at that point, you almost wouldn't want him to be fighting Usman when it comes to that point, because it's just like, we're not trying to see that fight again when there's nothing else to it. Like, he's already lost multiple times. Like, there's no reason for them to fight again.
Yeah, like, if he stays in the, in the division and all that, which it looks like he is going to do, he's just going to have to make another run, like sweep all the other competition that everybody that's got any hype, the winner of Chimaev and stuff, and sweep go through the fucking list. And
speaking of, in the presser, he doubled back on Chimaev.
Oh yeah, his favorite nickname nowadays, bro.
Roll the clip. But yeah, he doubled back on Chimaev, and you saying that he would have to, pretty much fight the winner of Dana White said the winner of that fight, Chimaev and Gilbert Burns, would be in the number one contender spot. Yeah. He said doesn't see why it wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
But if Colby had to fight Chimaev, I think you would see a clear difference in classes in terms of, okay, you want to go to the ground? Let's go to the ground. Right. But let's see who's really going to finish this.
And that is where people tend to stay away from that. But Chimaev doesn't strike me as a guy who's going to stay away from the ground. Oh, no. So now I'm going to the ground.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So it seems like that's going to be where his road ends, Covington. In terms of Masvidal, I mean, shout out Drake, man. I feel like the Drake curse might be in full effect. I didn't even know this, but I came hip to it afterwards. I think Drake put up like $235K on Masvidal. Yeah. Which I like the bet. I respect it. Didn't even know Drake watches UFC, but he's tapped into the streets.
He's tapped in, bro. And it looks like he might have some type of like betting service or something that he's partnered with now.
And that's probably why he's doing what he's doing.
That guy.
Masvidal said next time you come to Miami, dinner's on me. Classy. Definitely classy in the L. For sure. But before we thanks for watching Certified Jesters. If you like the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this.
And don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss a post.